Have you ever heard of Raynaud's phenomenon? How about alkaptonuria? If you haven't, consider yourself lucky. Modern medicine has advanced so rapidly in the last century that it's hard to believe that we're actually left with terrible diseases we can't explain. And yet, doctors often find themselves confronted with medical puzzles and cases of extreme pain that lack a definitive cause or complete explanation. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are bizarre diseases science still can't explain. Super strength is usually only achieved in the realm of comic books and action movies. But what if I told you that there are real people with supernatural strength? Liam Hoekstra, for example, had enough to tackle extreme gymnastic maneuvers when he was less than 6 months old. He wasn't forced or taught to do it. He was only a tiny baby after all. He just did it. Liam's parents perhaps were aware that there was just something different to their scarily athletic baby, took him to the doctor and found out that he had a rare condition that gave him rapid muscle growth and super strength. Though this sounds like the origin of a superhero, the condition does actually exist. It's called myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. It's caused by a lack of myostatin, a protein that makes the body resistant to muscle gain. Because of his condition, Liam's myostatin levels are extremely low. Consequently, he has enormous muscle growth. Hyperexplexia, or exaggerated surprise, is an inherited disorder characterized by increased muscle tone. The most noticeable symptom of this uncommon disease is something known as the excessive startle reflex. Sufferers seem to overreact to minor surprises, resulting in exaggerated movements. This is followed by a brief period of rigidity in which the patient cannot move at all. Hyperexplexia affects approximately 1 in every 40,000 people in the US. Scientists believe it's caused by mutations in specific brainstem receptors. These mutations inhibit the normal dampening signals from reducing the startle reflex. The condition is extremely dangerous for newborn babies because the startle reflex might trigger breathing problems. Stiff person syndrome is a strange and rare disease that causes random muscle spasms that may become so intense that the sufferer falls over, resulting in broken bones. SPS is characterized by fluctuating muscle rigidity in the limbs and torso, and an increased vulnerability to stimuli like touch, noise, and emotional distress, all of which might lead to muscle spasms. The disorder is characterized by abnormal postures, which are frequently hunched and stiffened. People with SPS may be unable to walk or move, or be scared to leave their homes, and street noises such as car horns can cause spasms and falls. Sadly, women are twice as likely as men to be affected by SPS. In 2018, an Italian man burst into the ER with blood streaming down his face. He was literally crying blood. The blood had started streaming from his eyes 2 hours earlier, he explained, and there had been no warning and no pain. While it looked as if he stepped right out of a scene from The Conjuring, the poor Italian man was only suffering from a condition called hemolacria. This condition is so uncommon that the hospital's medical personnel had no idea how to handle it. An examination revealed no signs of any trauma or visual problems, so they treated him as if he had an eye infection, which fixed the issue. Scientists believe this condition might be caused by infections or eye trauma, but are still uncertain about the internal process involved. And now for an interesting side story. Did you know that J.P. Morgan, the famous financier who was also one of the richest men in history, known for sharp business acumen and tough demeanor, was extremely self-conscious about his nose? He went to great lengths to conceal his bulbous deformed nose, which was caused by the skin condition rosacea. Almost every photo of him was corrected, and those taken without his permission were destroyed. Rosacea causes facial flushing or long-term redness. It may lead to enlarged blood vessels as well as pus-filled bumps. Some symptoms may flare up for weeks or months and then just suddenly disappear. Rosacea can be confused with dermatitis, acne, or other skin conditions, and its cause is still unknown. No, not rosacea. I have been asked this before. This is psoriasis. So, hang on. There you go. Wait. This feels weird doing this on camera, but I'm open with it. It's, there you go. So, just getting to that before someone asks me in the comments about, my red spots on me. It's also here. Probably see it back there too. Psoriasis, what are you gonna do? Humans are amazing when it comes to recognizing faces. In 2018, researchers recruited students aged 18 to 61 and asked them to list everyone they could recall. Friends, family, the janitor they barely interacted with, you name it. The catch? They only had an hour. Once the clock stopped, researchers crunched the numbers to estimate how many more faces they might have remembered with extra time. Next, the participants took a celebrity test, identifying familiar faces from over 3,400 photos. When all was said and done, the results were incredible. The average person can recognize about 5,000 faces. That's enough faces to pack a small concert arena. During the pandemic, strict lockdowns in countries like India and South Africa brought unexpected challenges, including a surge in methanol poisoning from failed attempts at DIY home brewing. Methanol, unlike ethanol, the alcohol in your favorite drinks, is highly toxic and can cause severe harm. Ironically, the treatment for methanol poisoning comes in the form of ethanol, meaning that if your homemade brew turned lethal, vodka or wine might have been the life-saving antidote. Fortunately, hospitals had their own stash of medical ethanol, proving that the best fix for toxic brews might just be more booze. Of the safe kind. Believe it or not, before the 60s, finding out if you were pregnant might have involved a frog. It all began in the 30s when a scientist with the magical name of Lancelot Hogben discovered that injecting a woman's urine into an African clawed frog could trigger ovulation if she was pregnant. While it sounds bizarre today, Hogben's method was a major leap forward. These frogs, valued for their ability to ovulate year-round, were shipped worldwide and became unlikely pioneers in early pregnancy detection. Studies show that daily or frequent users may require up to 3 times more sedation than non-users. This happens because marijuana affects liver enzymes, causing your body to metabolize anesthetics faster. That's why it's crucial to tell your anesthesiologist if you're a cannabis user. They're not judging, just adjusting. Nobody wants to wake up in the middle of a medical procedure, so honesty is the best policy. Packed with tough receptors called Meissner's corpuscles, they're wired to detect even the gentlest pressure or the slightest temperature change. In fact, they're over 100 times more sensitive than your fingertips. And this extreme sensitivity isn't just for romance. It also helps you avoid scalding your tongue on hot drinks, sense a crumb stuck where it shouldn't be, or feel the first hint of dryness that tells you to grab some chapstick. They're as functional as they are fascinating. Living in a city or near a busy road could mean your lungs are working overtime, and you might not even realize it. Constant exposure to air pollution, such as fine particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide from vehicle emissions, can cause chronic inflammation in the lungs. This low-level irritation can persist silently, increasing the risk of asthma, bronchitis, and even long-term lung damage. Sadly, these effects often build gradually, making it easy to overlook the connection. So your lungs could be paying the price for where you call home. What if your memory was so exceptional that you never had to study for tests or that you would never forget any detail about events that happened years ago? Aurelian Hyman has a condition known as hyperthymesia, or superior autobiographical memory. Hyperthymesia allows a person to recall almost every detail of their entire life. Whether something happened a week ago or over 10 years ago, those who have this disorder can remember every detail and do the exact same thing for each day in between. Hyperthymesia isn't caused by a disease or syndrome. It's not regarded as a harmful medical condition, and those with it are generally considered healthy. Really glad we put it on a list called 25 diseases when it's not a disease, but okay. People who suffer from Capgras syndrome believe that someone or something of importance was swapped with an identical replica. This disorder isn't just related to mental health. Scientists believe that it can also be caused by neurodegenerative diseases or brain trauma. Those suffering from the illness may believe that a fake has temporarily replaced a loved one or that it's occurred over a longer period of time. They can also think that minor physical cues can reveal the true identity of the imposter. As a result of the paranoia caused by this condition, it's often used in science fiction books and movies like Total Recall or The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Every 90s kid will remember Michael Jackson as the eccentric king of pop, and people before the 90s. But we'll also remember him for the strange lightening of his skin. In his final years, Michael Jackson had a regular African-American complexion throughout his childhood. But in the 1980s, all of that changed. When questioned about it, Michael said that he had a condition called vitiligo. This was in fact confirmed in his autopsy report after he passed away. Vitiligo is a rare skin condition that causes your body's melanin-producing cells to malfunction and fail, which can result in patches of pale skin. Scientists have yet to figure out what triggers the condition, but we know that it's associated with the body's autoimmune processes. Whenever a disease is named after someone, you know it'll be special. Raynaud's phenomenon is a condition that causes reduced blood flow to the fingers, but can also reduce blood flow to the knees, nipples, toes, ears, and nose, if you're especially unlucky. These blood vessel spasms can appear due to stress or emotional turmoil. It can also be brought on by colder weather. Although Raynaud's phenomenon might sound harmless, like a quirky form of frostbite, it should be taken very seriously, since it can indicate other issues that could damage your internal organs. While none of the conditions on today's list are pleasant, Pachyonychia congenita, or PC, is genuinely debilitating. PC is a challenging skin condition that often goes unnoticed. Despite the name suggesting thick nails, PC comes with various complications, including painful calluses on the soles of the feet. PC doesn't discriminate. It impacts people of all genders, ages, ethnicities, and races. While it doesn't affect lifespan, it does introduce chronic pain, making walking a constant struggle, and at times, nearly impossible. It's nothing strange for someone who suffers from the disease to go about crawling through their homes, as it's just too painful to walk. Living with juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA, is no joke. Imagine being a child, navigating daily life with painful and inflamed joints. It wouldn't be any fun to get on the seesaw, jumping castle, or jungle gym, the staples that make childhood the playful ride that it's supposed to be. While the exact roots of JIA are still unidentifiable, it's thought to begin when the body's immune system becomes overactive, triggering inflammation. The majority of children have remission if they follow a treatment program, and in some cases, if the child is lucky, the disease can disappear completely, requiring no further medication. Ulcerative colitis causes painful bowel inflammation, and while medications and dietary changes can help manage symptoms, there's no permanent cure yet. Innovative research by the late Dr. Joel Weinstock explored a surprising potential treatment: swallowing drinks laced with parasitic pigworm eggs. In early trials, nearly half of ulcerative colitis patients and over 70% of Crohn's disease patients reported improvements after consuming these worm-laced drinks. The theory is that these worms help regulate our immune systems, potentially offsetting disruptions caused by modern hygiene. While still experimental, the approach could inspire new avenues for treating immune-based diseases. In the first few years of life, a baby's brain is working at lightning speed, forming over 1 million new neural connections every single second. Yeah, every second. The rapid growth is incredible. By the time they celebrate their first birthday, their brains have already doubled in size from birth. And by the age 3, they reach 80% of their adult volume, packed with billions of connections firing away, ready to tackle whatever preschool will throw their way, from their first ABCs to mastering shapes, colors, and social skills. Women and men differ in plenty of obvious ways. Think shoulders, hips, and reproductive organs. But here's something you might not have considered. Our digestive systems are different too. On average, a woman's colon is about 10 centimeters, or 3.9 inches longer than a man's, weaving through the pelvis alongside organs like the uterus and ovaries. As a result, it takes food a bit longer to travel through the digestive tract, culminating in slower digestion. It also makes women more prone to bloating and constipation, so I guess that's one difference we should be thankful for. Well, you've never heard of it? Well, borborygmi is the official name for all those gurgling noises your stomach makes. And yes, it's a real word. The oddly embarrassing sounds happen as food, gas, and liquids are moved along your digestive tract through a process called peristalsis. The gurgles get louder when your stomach is empty because the hollow spaces act like echo chambers. And that's all there is to it. Just your body doing its thing, with the occasional awkward moment to keep things interesting. Rah, rah, rah. The ancients figured out something long ago that we're rediscovering. The shortest way to the brain is up the nose. If you've ever endured a COVID test, you know exactly how it feels when a cotton swab ventures uncomfortably close to your brain. So it might not surprise you to learn that modern doctors have perfected the art of removing tumors through the nose. Yeah, really. Armed with a long endoscope and a curette, a tool for scraping tissue or debris, they navigate the nasal passage like a high-stakes science mission. It's precise, effective, and let's face it, a little mind-blowing. Literally. You can pinch a weenus as hard as you want. No, not that part of the anatomy. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about the weenus, that patch of skin on your elbow. Have you ever tried to give it a good pinch? Go on, don't be shy. If you're wondering why it barely registers on the pain scale, it's all about nerve endings. Different areas of your skin have different sensitivities. Tough skin, like that on your elbows, has fewer pain receptors than more delicate areas because your body prioritizes protecting vulnerable areas with more nerve endings to quickly signal when something's wrong. So it's okay to pinch your weenus. It's built to handle it. Did you know that the average human body contains enough fat to produce around 7 bars of soap? Yep, our bodies are basically walking soap factories, and our connection to soap doesn't stop there. In certain conditions, decomposing bodies have also been known to produce a waxy substance called adipose hair, which has a soap-like consistency. Morbid, I know, but it is fascinating. As it turns out, our hearts aren't dependent on our brains to keep pumping. Nope. They've got their own electrical system, which is why a heart can actually continue to beat for a while even after being removed from the body, as long as it has a supply of oxygen. The remarkable ability is an essential component when it comes to organ transplants, as it gives doctors a window of time to transplant and implant a heart into a recipient. So, while it might seem a bit unnatural, it highlights the incredible resilience of our most vital organ. Have you ever wondered how those brave parents get their babies to hold their breath underwater when teaching them to swim? I mean, have you seen those videos online? It's wild. It just so happens that those little ones aren't just fearless, they're tapping into their inner Aquaman, or Aqua Woman, thanks to something called the diving reflex. When our faces are submerged in water, our bodies instinctively kick into survival mode. Our heart rate slows down, blood flow gets redirected to our vital organs, and we instinctively hold our breath. This reflex is stronger in babies, but it's still there when we grow up, helping experienced freedivers hold their breath for those impressive amounts of time. Like Kate Winslet holding her breath for 8 minutes on the set of Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Broke a record, I believe. If you've never heard about it, pregnancy brain exists, and it's a real thing. Forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, and a general feeling of mental fuzziness can all be part of the package when a woman is expecting. Luckily, it's only temporary, and a direct result of the hormonal rollercoaster the human body experiences during pregnancy. It usually disappears a month or 3 after the baby is born. Fish odor syndrome, or trimethylaminiuria, or TMAU, causes a person's sweat, breath, and urine to smell like, well, fish. It's caused by a genetic mutation that stops the body from breaking down trimethylamine, a compound naturally produced in the gut. Instead of being processed, the excess is released through bodily fluids, which leads to the unmistakable odor. The condition is inherited and can range from mild to intense, making social situations tricky for those who have it. It's incredibly rare, and research is ongoing to make life easier for those affected. For the longest time, heart disease was seen as a personal issue, something tied to your genes or your lifestyle choices. However, researchers from CFAR's Humans and Microbiome program recently uncovered evidence suggesting otherwise. They found that heart disease, alongside conditions like IBS and type 2 diabetes, may be contagious. The link lies in the microbiome, the collection of bacteria, fungi, and parasites in our gut. Researchers revealed that transferring an unhealthy microbiome to animals actually caused them to develop the same illnesses. It's like passing along a stomach bug, but with far bigger implications. Whether a healthy microbiome can spread the same way is still being studied. It would make sense to think that everything inside your body is squeaky clean and germ-free. However, that is not the case at all. While you might imagine your lungs as pristine air filters, they're actually home to a bustling community of microbes. And it's not just the lungs. Many of your organs, including your gut and skin, have their own unique microbiomes. It might seem gross, but these tiny organisms play important roles in our health, from aiding digestion to boosting our immune systems. And since I'm on the subject of not-so-sterile body parts, let's talk about your very own air filter. Your nose. We might not think about it often, but our noses play a crucial role in protecting us from harmful particles in the air we breathe. They trap dust and pollen in the sticky mucus lining in the nasal passages, where your tiny nose hairs, or cilia, then sweep those trapped particles toward the back of the throat to be swallowed or coughed out. On top of that, your nose also warms and humidifies the air you breathe before it reaches your lungs. So we really should give it more credit. Now that I've covered the lungs and nose, let's talk about those forceful expulsions we call sneezes and coughs. They aren't random occurrences. They're your body's way of defending itself against unwelcome intruders. When dust, pollen, irritants, or even germs enter your respiratory system, your body reacts by forcefully expelling them through a sneeze or cough, clearing your airways and protecting your lungs from potential harm. Did you know that how your child breathes can actually affect how they talk? Studies have shown that children who primarily breathe through their mouths instead of their noses are more likely to develop a lisp. That's because mouth breathing can change the way the tongue rests in the mouth, making it harder to pronounce certain sounds, particularly the S sound. So, if you've got a little one who's a mouth breather, it might be worth checking in with your doctor to see if there's anything that can be done to help them breathe through their nose. Also, way to go naming lisp when people who have a lisp can't pronounce lisp. Have you ever noticed how stress can give you a stomach ache, or how anxiety can leave you feeling queasy? Scientists call it the gut-brain axis, and it means that your gut and your brain are constantly chatting with each other, sending signals back and forth. So that upset stomach you get before a big presentation, that's your brain sending stress signals to your gut. And that feeling of butterflies in your stomach when you're excited, that's your gut sending happy signals back up to your brain. It's a two-way street, and it shows just how interconnected our bodies really are. Horseshoe crabs, with their striking bright blue blood, are ancient creatures that have thrived in our oceans for over 450 million years. But these underwater survivors aren't just fascinating, they're vital to modern medicine. Their blood contains immune cells that detect and trap toxic bacteria by clotting around them. This remarkable mechanism inspired scientists in the 70s to develop a test that detects contaminants in vaccines. Before this breakthrough, there was no reliable way to ensure vaccines were free from harmful bacteria. Today, medical practitioners can deliver vaccines with confidence and protect countless lives. Starvation isn't just deadly, it affects every part of the body. The stomach shrinks, making it painful to eat normal portions even if food becomes available. The heart also weakens as its muscles shrink, lowering blood pressure and reducing how well it works. Prolonged starvation can lead to anemia, stop menstruation in women, and weaken bones. The brain takes an especially hard hit. Without essential nutrients like potassium and phosphorus, it loses gray matter, causing permanent damage and long-term cognitive problems. In extreme cases, the body can even develop a fine layer of soft hair called lanugo, similar to a fetus in the womb, to help regulate temperature. It's a terrible way to go. Did you happen to see that Grey's Anatomy episode and wonder if a double uterus is a real thing? Well, it is. It's a rare condition called uterus didelphys, and it means some women are born with two separate wombs instead of one. Each of these uteruses has its own cervix, and in some cases, even separate vaginal canals. Now, while it's certainly fascinating, it can come with challenges. Women with this condition have been known to experience complications during pregnancy, as well as increased discomfort and pain during their periods. Your stomach lining is constantly renewing itself. In fact, it's one of the fastest healing tissues in your body. It completely replaces itself every 3 to 6 days, shedding old cells and generating new ones. This rapid turnover helps to protect your stomach from all that acid it gets exposed to during digestion and the wear and tear of processing the food you eat. So, while that extra spicy meal might cause temporary discomfort, your stomach is already replenishing itself faster than you can say, "Pass the antacids." You can actually live a long, full, and happy life with just one lung. It might sound theoretical, but our bodies are actually pretty adaptable. Now, how well you do with one lung can depend on why the other one was removed. If it was due to an illness like cancer, there's always a chance it could come back. But if you had to say goodbye to a lung because of an injury, and you stay healthy otherwise, you shouldn't have any major limitations. I actually know someone personally who had a lung removed. Hola. She's probably watching this. Have you ever been lying in bed trying to fall asleep when suddenly you become hyper aware of your own heartbeat? If so, you've experienced rubetosis. It isn't just a heightened awareness of your heartbeat though. It's a complex experience that can involve both physical sensations and emotional responses. While some find it neutral or even comforting, others feel unsettled or anxious. If this happens to you, don't worry. Take a few deep breaths or change positions. The feeling is usually fleeting. Caffeine is part of daily life for most of us, but it's easy to forget that caffeine is a drug, and consuming too much can have bizarre and dangerous side effects. Excessive caffeine can overstimulate adrenaline receptors, putting serious strain on your body. Even more unsettling, drinking too much coffee, or any caffeinated product, makes you 3 times more likely to experience auditory hallucinations. To stay safe, experts recommend sticking to 4 regular cups of coffee a day. Any more than your daily pick-me-up might become a serious problem. The struggle is real. Any insomniac will tell you about it. However, laughter might be the unexpected remedy you're looking for. When you laugh, your body releases melatonin, the hormone that helps you relax and feel sleepy. This natural boost sets the stage for a good night's sleep. Trust me, science backs it up. Laughter not only releases melatonin, but also reduces stress and relaxes muscles. So instead of just tossing and turning, try watching a funny video or recalling a funny memory before bed. It might just be the sleep aid you've been missing. According to the World Health Organization, about 1/4 of the world's population is infected with TB bacteria. TB is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, primarily affecting the lungs. In many cases, the body can fight off the bacteria and stop them from multiplying, resulting in latent TB, where the bacteria stays dormant and can't spread. People with latent TB don't feel sick and show no symptoms. However, if the bacteria become active, it can lead to TB disease, which makes people sick and potentially contagious. Without the Earth's magnetic field, we'd be bombarded by deadly solar radiation. But it's not just the planet that has magnetic forces, our bodies do too. Electric currents create magnetism, and since our nervous system runs on electricity, it generates magnetic fields inside and around us. In fact, every organ in your body uses electricity, which means each one has its own tiny magnetic field. While the magnetic field of the human body is incredibly weak, about 1/10,000,000th the strength of Earth's, our heart stands out. Their magnetic field extends beyond our bodies and could be influencing other biological processes. You might be surprised to learn that for most people, the length of their outstretched arms is almost exactly equal to their height. Trust me, go measure it. Okay, so I'm 5'10". So let's do, it's given a couple of inches because, oh, yep, I dropped it. Oh God. But yeah, my wingspan is about 5'10". And God. As you can see, that's what I am, 5'10". So, oops. It works. It's a fascinating coincidence of human proportions. And that's not the only surprising measurement. No, get your mind out of the gutter. Still not that. While it's not a perfect rule, for many people, the circumference of their waist is about double the circumference of their neck, give or take a Big Mac or two. Remember how I talked about the gut-brain connection? Well, as it turns out, your emotions can actually have the same kind of impact on your immune system. Studies have shown that feelings of guilt, especially about enjoying life's little pleasures, can actually weaken your immune response. This means that if you constantly feel guilty about eating that extra piece of chocolate, you may become more prone to illness. So while it's important to maintain a healthy lifestyle, it's just as important to live a little and not feel guilty about it. That noggin of yours isn't just one solid shell. It's actually a complex puzzle of 29 different bones. Yep, you've got 8 cranial bones surrounding your brain, 14 facial bones giving your face its unique shape, a hyoid bone supporting your tongue, and even 6 tiny auditory bones to help you hear all of these fantastic facts. Can you imagine what it would feel like if one of your hands moved on its own, grabbing objects or even undoing things you just did, completely out of your own control? That's the strange and unsettling reality of alien hand syndrome. It's typically linked to things like neurosurgery, tumors, aneurysms, or strokes, but here's the kicker. Scientists are still scratching their heads over why the hand acts out like it has a mind of its own. Despite all the advances in neurology, scientists are still left with more questions than answers, with no clear cure in sight. Cotard syndrome is a perplexing disorder that causes people to believe that they're dead, or that parts of their body no longer exist. Some even believe they're immortal because in their mind, they've already died. This can have devastating effects, like refusing to eat because they feel their body doesn't need food anymore. Treatment usually includes antidepressants, antipsychotics, and sometimes electroconvulsive therapy when things get severe. This odd neurological disorder causes severe muscle stiffness and painful spasms. What makes it particularly strange is that these spasms can be triggered by everyday things like noise, touch, or emotional stress. Although it's believed to be an autoimmune disorder, doctors still don't fully understand what causes the body to attack its own nervous system, leading to the bizarre symptoms of SPS. There's no definitive treatment, so management primarily focuses on medications that help relax the muscles and calm the immune response. For people with misophonia, certain everyday sounds trigger a powerful emotional response, from irritation to outright rage. But it's not about hating all noise. This condition causes extreme sensitivity to specific sounds like chewing, slurping, or repetitive noises. Misophonia is currently recognized by the medical community, but the exact mechanism behind it is still a puzzle. Some believe it could be related to how the brain processes sound, but there's no clear explanation yet. For those affected, avoiding these sounds becomes a daily challenge, with no definitive cure in sight. Despite its dramatic name, exploding head syndrome doesn't involve anything actually exploding. Instead, people experience sudden, loud noises or explosive sensations in their heads when they're falling asleep or waking up. These episodes can be terrifying, but there is no pain. Just a sudden jolt that feels like a bomb went off in their brain. Researchers have several theories about what causes it, such as disruptions in brain activity during sleep transitions, but for now, it continues to stump the medical community. Thankfully, the condition isn't dangerous, but it's certainly one of the strangest unsolved sleep disorders out there. 100,000 reactions every second, people! The astonishing activity is essential for everything from basic bodily functions to complex thought processes. In fact, your brain is so energy hungry that it uses 20% of the total oxygen and blood in your body, even though it only accounts for about 2% of your body weight. Your brain is remarkable. It's constantly working, processing information, generating thoughts, and maintaining the intricate systems that keep you alive and functioning. That's incredible. Have you ever been told off for daydreaming? Well, it's time to embrace those mental escapes. Research suggests that daydreaming isn't a sign of laziness, but rather a sign of higher intelligence and creativity. When your mind wanders, it's actively working behind the scenes, exploring new ideas, making connections, and problem solving. So, next time you catch yourself daydreaming, don't feel guilty. You might just be unlocking your inner Steven Spielberg or William Shakespeare. This item on today's list might just change your workout game. A recent study suggests that even a few seconds of intense exercise per day can help you build muscle strength. Now, I'm not talking about a leisurely walk. Think more along the lines of a few supercharged reps with heavy weights or resistance bands. While it might sound too good to be true, the research indicates that short bursts of high-intensity exercise can be surprisingly effective, especially for those new to working out. Looking to shed a few pounds? Well, here's a simple trick that might surprise you. Drink water with your meals. It might seem too easy, but water is a calorie-free way to help you feel fuller, so you're less likely to overeat. Plus, studies have shown that drinking water before meals can even boost your metabolism, helping you burn more calories throughout the day. And if you swap those sugary drinks for good old H2O, you'll be cutting down on those sneaky extra calories without even realizing it. Blue rubber bleb Nevis syndrome, or BRBNS, also known as Bean syndrome, is an unusual and strange condition where malformed veins, or blebs, form on the skin and inside the body, particularly in the gastrointestinal tract. These small blue or purple lesions may look harmless, but they can lead to serious complications, like bleeding or pain in the GI tract. Although doctors understand the physical symptoms of BRBNS, the underlying causes of these abnormal vein growths remain unclear. Treatment usually focuses on managing symptoms and preventing complications, leaving much to be discovered. Morgellons disease is a controversial and poorly understood condition where people report strange fibers or threads emerging from sores on their skin. Those affected describe sensations of crawling or stinging, along with persistent, slow-healing lesions. Despite numerous studies, doctors remain divided over whether Morgellons is a physical condition or a psychological one, often linked to delusional parasitosis. What's more baffling is that no one has been able to identify what these fibers are or why patients experience such unusual symptoms, making it one of modern medicine's strangest and most debated mysteries. What would you do if you woke up one day and suddenly spoke with a foreign accent, even though you've never lived in that country? That's the strange reality of foreign accent syndrome, an extraordinary condition that typically follows head trauma, stroke, or other brain injuries. People with FAS start speaking in what sounds like a foreign accent despite their original speech patterns. Scientists believe it might be related to damage in the part of the brain that controls speech, but how and why it happens remains an unsolved puzzle. Capgras delusion is an unsettling disorder that causes someone to believe that a close person, like a spouse or a friend, has been replaced by an identical imposter. It can happen after brain injuries or in people with schizophrenia. But the true mystery is why the brain suddenly misidentifies familiar faces. Doctors have some idea of the brain damage that could be involved, but they still haven't uncovered the deeper cause. Trimethylaminuria, often called fish odor syndrome, is a medical condition where the body can't break down a chemical called trimethylamine. Normally, this chemical, produced in the gut during digestion, gets converted into a non-smelly form. But in people with this condition, trimethylamine builds up and seeps into sweat, urine, and breath, causing a strong fishy odor. The condition has been linked to a genetic mutation affecting certain enzymes, but there's no cure, and the condition remains difficult to manage. You ever wonder what sets us apart from our furry friends in the animal kingdom? Besides our obvious lack of fur and superior selfie skills, there's one more thing that might surprise you: the penis bone. Yep, while most mammals, like chimps and even bears, have a bony structure called a baculum in their penises, humans are part of a small group that doesn't. Scientists think that this might have something to do with our relatively quick mating habits and less intense competition for partners compared to other animals. So while it might seem a little strange, our lack of a penis bone is just another thing that makes us, well, human. Your muscles are your body's built-in furnace. They generate heat with every contraction, which is why you warm up when you exercise and shiver when you're cold. But here's the surprising bit: your muscles are still producing heat even when you're not actively moving. This baseline level of heat production is called your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. It's the energy your body uses to keep essential functions like breathing and blood circulation going strong. So even when you're just chilling on the couch, your muscles are still hard at work, generating heat to keep your body temperature stable. Did you know that your allergies might not have started after you were born? In fact, research suggests that they could have developed while you were still in the womb. According to the research, your birth weight, which is influenced by your mother's diet and overall health during pregnancy, plays a much bigger role in how sensitive you are to allergens later in life. While more research is needed, the discovery opens up the exciting possibility that mothers could potentially influence their child's allergy risk through their diet or by taking specific supplements during pregnancy. What are you allergic to? Let me know in the comments below. I got lucky. I'm allergic to one thing and one thing only. It's called Zinacef. It's in the Keflex family, and it has to be injected into me, so I can totally handle it. But I got lucky when it comes to allergies. Just one. And it barely registers as one, because don't really see it all that often. Borborygmus. I just love saying that word. Oh, you want to know what it means? Well, you know that terribly embarrassing conversation your stomach likes to have with itself in a quiet elevator or that high-profile corporate meeting? Yeah, that's borborygmus. It happens when the muscles in your digestive tract are rhythmically contracting and pushing food, fluid, and gas through your intestines. 100% normal, and everybody has it. And while it can be embarrassing, at least you know you're not alone when it comes to the symphonies of stomach sounds. Getting fit takes work, and working out is tough. But here's the crazy part. Research shows you can build muscle just by thinking about it. In a study at Ohio University, 29 volunteers had their wrists in casts. Half were asked to imagine exercising their wrists for 11 minutes a day, 5 days a week. After a few weeks, the mental exercisers had muscles twice as strong as those who did no workouts at all. So, could you get a six-pack just by thinking about it? Well, you'll never know unless you try. A true naturist knows that sleeping in the buff has its perks. Not that we're all naturists, but let's follow the science for a moment. For one, you'll fall asleep faster and enjoy better quality rest when your body is cooler. Plus, quality sleep isn't just good for your mind, it's great for your body too. Naked sleep also promotes healthy skin, helps burn calories, reduces the risk of yeast infections in women, and boosts sperm health in men due to cooler testicles. According to those in the know, it's a win-win. You've probably heard of albinism, the condition that causes a lack of pigment and sunlight sensitivity. But xeroderma pigmentosum, XP, takes it to a whole new level. People with XP react severely to sunlight and often stay indoors, or wear full-body suits to stay safe. XP happens because their bodies can't repair the DNA damage caused by the sun. While sunlight damages everyone's DNA, our bodies can usually fix it. For those with XP, this repair system is broken. So sunlight exposure is downright dangerous and increases the risks of severe burns and skin cancer. Intelligent people tend to live healthier and longer lives. However, when it comes to mental health, they often fall at the opposite end of the spectrum. Research on Mensa members, those in the top 2% of IQ, found that they are more prone to anxiety and other psychological disorders. They were also 3 times more likely to have environmental allergies compared to the general population. The theory is that higher intelligence leads to stronger reactions to stressors. For example, a highly intelligent person might feel more anxiety in stressful situations because they understand the full gravity of the challenge, while others may only focus on the immediate problem. Viruses are everywhere. Seriously, they're all around us, living in ways that we don't even notice. Some make their presence known through symptoms, but many are so harmless that we never even realize they're there. And trust me, there are lots of them. Our bodies are made up of about 10 trillion human cells. That's 10 with 12 zeros. But that's nothing compared to the bacteria living inside us. There are 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells in your body. And get this, you actually carry around 100 times more viruses than human cells. That's 10,000 trillion, or 10 with 15 zeros, viruses, just for fun. So yeah, we're basically walking ecosystems full of tiny invaders. It's like the Force, it binds us, it penetrates us. Your body is covered in fungus. And I'm not talking just a couple of hot spots. It's literally everywhere. It's not just one or two types either, there are dozens. In a study by the National Human Genome Research Institute, scientists cataloged all the different species of fungi on your body. The results? Oh, not exactly what you came here to hear. Your head and chest have the least fungus, with only about 10 species each. Your hands and arms carry 20 to 30 types. But your feet, oh, they're a fungal paradise. Between your toes, you've got about 40 types, 60 in your toenails and 80 on your heels. There are 200 different species of fungus on your feet alone. Every single step you take, it's on fungus. And they'll be watching you. For those with lipodystrophy, the body loses fat in certain areas while unexpectedly gaining it in others, sometimes around internal organs like the liver. The condition can be genetic, showing up at birth or developed later in life due to various factors. What makes lipodystrophy particularly strange is how unpredictable the fat loss and gain can be. Although scientists understand the basic mechanisms, the reason for the fat loss and gain remain unknown, and effective treatment is still a challenge. Lesch-Nyhan syndrome is a peculiar genetic disorder that mainly affects boys, passed down through the X chromosome. What really sets it apart, and makes it so difficult to understand, is the way it drives those with the condition to harm themselves. I'm talking about compulsive behaviors like biting their lips and fingers or banging their heads. On top of that, the syndrome comes with serious physical issues like kidney problems and painful gout due to high levels of uric acid. Can you imagine being allergic to the cold? For people with cold urticaria, that's daily life. Exposure to chilly air or cold water can trigger an almost immediate reaction, causing itchy hives to pop up within minutes. Some people experience mild irritation, but for others, it can be much more serious. In extreme cases, cold exposure can lead to complications like dangerously low blood pressure or even shock. The special effects in Alice in Wonderland are great when you see it on screen. But can you imagine how freaky it would feel to look at your hand and see that it's growing or shrinking right before your eyes? That's just one of the oddities for people living with Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It's a strange condition where the brain distorts perception in strange and disturbing ways. Objects might seem to change size, and the world feels warped, almost like being trapped in a dream. While it's been linked to migraines, epilepsy, and even infections, it's still a neurological mystery with no known cure. Cri-du-Chat syndrome is an uncommon genetic disorder caused by a missing piece on chromosome 5. What makes it especially unique is the distinct high-pitched cry that infants with this condition produce, a sound eerily similar to a cat's meow. This chromosomal deletion affects more than just the voice though. It often leads to developmental delays, intellectual disabilities, and varying physical abnormalities. The severity of the condition can differ from person to person depending on how much of the chromosome is deleted. For now, managing the condition involves addressing the specific symptoms each person experiences. Lamellar ichthyosis is an uncommon birth defect that causes babies to shed their skin like reptiles. A collodion membrane covers a baby with this disorder when they're born, which is later shed, revealing scaly and cracked skin underneath. Because babies with this disorder lack an outer barrier of protection in normal sweat glands, they're more vulnerable to infection, dehydration, and hypothermia. The scales, which resemble the ones on fish, generally become more prominent as the child ages and groups around areas such as the armpits and groin. While the affected children appear to be in no pain, their bright red, scaly skin can have long-lasting psychological consequences. This condition can also cause the sufferer's lips and eyelids to turn outward, which is called ectropion. This hereditary disorder has no known cure, and more research is being conducted to come up with ways to treat it. Okay, I'm not saying this. I don't want you guys to stop drinking water because of this, but Just keep drinking water. As the name suggests, this condition is a serious acute form of diarrhea first identified following an outbreak in Brainerd, Minnesota. The exact reason for the malady is unknown, but it could be caused by drinking unsafe water or ingesting raw milk. Sufferers endure 10 to 20 bouts of explosive watery diarrhea every day. Because it's extremely resistant to any form of antimicrobial treatment, Brainerd diarrhea can persist for months, even up to a year, with no relief for those affected. Some medications, such as Imodium, have been reported to provide some relief, but only at extremely high doses. Because the exact cause of the condition is undetermined, there is no known way around it other than boiling all well water and steering clear of unpasteurized milk. And if you manage to sit through that, stick around for the last few items on today's list. They're not going to be pleasant, but they will be worth it. Did you know that approximately 7.8 million Americans grapple with hyperhidrosis, a condition involving excessive sweating that isn't always linked to heat or physical exertion? The sweating can be so excessive as to soak through clothes or literally drip off the sufferer's hands. This elevated sweating can significantly disrupt your day, leading to social anxiety and embarrassment. Several extreme treatments exist, but they usually come with terrible side effects and have varying success rates. The hallmarks of nodding disease are extremely unusual. Clusters of the disease appear to be exclusive to sub-Saharan Africa, with both endemic and epidemic patterns. When a child is affected, their physical growth is permanently stunted. Brain growth is also stunted, resulting in intellectual disabilities. Nodding disease is so named because it results in pathological nodding that occurs when the victim eats or feels cold. When either of those criteria is met, the sufferer will begin to nod immediately. These fits are brief and end when the child stops eating or feels warm again. However, this characteristic is very unusual because the victims don't appear to have attacks when given an unfamiliar food. Niemann-Pick disease causes the body to store too much fat and cholesterol inside its cells. These foam cells, named for their foamy appearance, cause a range of problems depending on the type. The condition is inherited when both parents pass on a faulty gene. Symptoms can vary, from liver issues to neurological decline and developmental delays. There's no cure, and treatment is limited to symptom management. Fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva, or FOP, is an incredibly terrifying condition that makes soft tissues like muscles, tendons, and ligaments turn into bone. It's almost as if the body is creating a second skeleton, locking joints and muscles in place, making movement increasingly difficult. Even minor injuries can trigger this bone growth, leading to a progressive loss of mobility. There's no way to stop or reverse it. And for the moment, we have yet to find a cure. Porphyria disrupts the body's ability to produce heme, which is vital for making red blood cells. What makes this disease especially strange is the variety of symptoms. Extreme sensitivity to sunlight, painful skin blisters, and sometimes even hallucinations or psychological issues. In fact, these symptoms were so unusual that they were once thought to be linked to vampire legends. While doctors now understand the root cause of it, the triggers that set off symptoms remain unpredictable, and the medical treatments can vary depending on the type of porphyria a person has. MSUD might sound like a sweet name, but it's actually a serious inherited condition. The body can't break down certain amino acids, the building blocks of protein, which leads to a dangerous buildup of substances in the blood and urine. The strangest sign of this disease is that the urine takes on a sweet maple syrup-like smell. The condition is nearly impossible to manage, and without strict dietary control, it can cause severe health problems. Paraneoplastic syndromes are a strange group of disorders where the body's immune system reacts to a cancerous tumor, but in areas of the body far from the tumor itself. It's almost like the immune system is on overdrive, causing symptoms that don't seem directly related to the cancer, such as neurological issues or hormonal imbalances. The real mystery? Doctors still don't fully understand why the body reacts this way. Even though there are treatments to help manage the symptoms, the underlying cause still needs to be discovered. This entry is definitely not for the faint of heart. Do not Google this if you do not have the stomach for it. That being said, cutaneous porphyria is a rare disease of the skin characterized by pustules, excess hair, edema, and necrosis. It may result in red teeth and fingernails, and the sufferer's urine might turn pink, purple, brown, or black when exposed to sunlight. The disease is thought to be linked to the many werewolf and vampire legends of the past, in which a sufferer, who would have lived apart from society, could have been mistaken for a monster. The disease is part of a larger group of disorders known as porphyrias, which encompass a wide range of mental and physical disorders caused by the body's overproduction of certain enzymes. We shouldn't be so quick to judge people who appear drunk. Autobrewery syndrome, often colloquially referred to as drunkenness disease, is a rare and intriguing medical condition that leads to intoxication without the usual alcohol consumption. Also known as endogenous ethanol fermentation or gut fermentation syndrome, this peculiar phenomenon affects only a small number of people, but can pose significant challenges for those dealing with it. People afflicted by autobrewery syndrome find themselves constantly generating alcohol within their bodies, even without consuming a drop. The condition presents a significant diagnostic challenge for medical professionals, as it's often mistaken for other health issues due to its mysterious nature. Well, the title says it all. PGAD is a sudden, uncontrollable surge of genital arousal that may go on for hours or days. The condition primarily affects women, but a couple of cases of men have also been documented. While PGAD is still poorly understood, scientists believe a combination of neurological, psychological, and vascular issues causes it. Many PGAD patients have the sensation that they are perpetually on the brink of orgasm, with symptoms frequently manifesting in public locations. Pelvic pain and discomfort are occasionally also reported. There is no known treatment for PGAD. However, cognitive behavioral therapy and pelvic floor therapy in combination with certain medications can be used to treat the condition. If you never had to experience pain again for the rest of your life, what would you do? Start a career in MMA? Or would you do something even more drastic, like becoming a professional stuntman? I have news for you. It wouldn't be all fun and games. You would never be able to tell if something was wrong with you unless you were bleeding or obviously injured in some way. Believe it or not, some people are actually born without the capacity to feel any kind of pain. These people have a very rare condition known as congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, or CIPA. Apart from feeling no pain, they also have constant difficulty controlling their body temperature because they can't sweat. Alkaptonuria, often called black urine disease, is a super rare inherited condition that messes with the breakdown of two important amino acids, tyrosine and phenylalanine. In simpler terms, it's like a glitch in the genetic system that leads to the buildup of homogentic acid in the body. While the symptoms primarily involve pigmentation changes, alkaptonuria is a lifelong condition that may impact joints and connective tissues over time. Imagine being allergic to water, something that's 100% essential to life. A person with aquagenic urticaria experiences hives and intense itching when they come into contact with water. Any exposure can trigger a painful reaction, whether it's drinking, showering, or even sweating. While doctors know it's related to histamine release, the exact cause of this strange allergy is still unknown. Managing the condition is tricky, and treatments only help to ease symptoms, leaving those affected with a baffling, life-altering condition that science can't fully explain. Candida subita, also known as Marie Antoinette syndrome, is what we call it when a person's hair suddenly turns white in a very short period of time, often following extreme emotional or psychological trauma. Legend has it that Marie Antoinette's hair turned white the night before her execution, hence the name. While it's often attributed to stress or trauma, scientists believe it could also be due to hormones, but there's no clear answer as to why this dramatic change happens almost overnight. Hematohydrosis is one of the rarest and most unsettling conditions, where a person literally sweats blood. A condition typically triggered by stress, strain, or bleeding disorders, this condition causes blood to seep through the skin, typically from the face or hands. While it sounds like something out of a horror story, it's very real, and the exact mechanisms behind it remain unclear. Doctors suspect stress plays a major role, but why the body responds by sweating blood is still one of medicine's most perplexing mysteries. Dissociative identity disorder, or DID, once called multiple personality disorder, is one of the most baffling mental conditions out there. People with DID develop multiple distinct identities, each with its own set of behaviors, voices, and even memories. These identities seem to emerge as a way to cope with severe trauma, often from childhood. While experts agree trauma is the root cause, exactly how the mind creates and maintains these separate personalities is still a puzzle. Despite recognition in psychology, the disorder continues to challenge our understanding of the human mind. If you have an intense desire to eat things like dirt, chalk, or metal, you might have pica, a condition where the body craves non-food items. The side effects can be very serious, resulting in poisoning or even internal injuries. Some researchers believe it's tied to nutrient deficiencies, but the cravings often stick around even when those deficiencies are corrected. At the end of the day, no one can say for sure why it happens. Keeping pica in the realm of bizarre diseases, science can't solve. Ever heard of Rasmussen's encephalitis, or RE? It's an incredibly rare condition that leads to infection in one hemisphere of the brain for an extended period of time. The inflammation brings along frequent seizures and ultimately leads to enough deterioration to lose function in the affected brain hemisphere. As time goes on, it can cause increased weakness on one side of your body and a mental decline. Rasmussen's encephalitis is so rare that it only affects about 2 out of every 10 million people, usually children between the ages of 2 and 10. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or CJD, is among the rarest and fastest progressing neurological disorders. It falls within the category of prion diseases, where certain brain proteins take on an abnormal folding pattern. CJD manifests with a range of neurological symptoms, such as rapid congenitive decline, muscle stiffness, twitching, and coordination issues. Unfortunately, its quick advancement often leads to severe disability, and regrettably, proves fatal within a year of onset. Despite its sporadic occurrence, there are inherited and acquired forms of CJD. The rarity, severity, and intricacy of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease has left us with more questions than answers, and it remains incurable. Imagine a persistent crawling sensation of something moving around underneath your skin. Imagine awful sores showing up everywhere on your body. Now imagine those sores sprouting coarse, colorful threads. That is Morgellons disease. For years, people all over the world have been plagued by this mysterious illness. Skin-crawling sensations cause strange fibers to grow from the victim's flesh. Symptoms include tooth decay and insomnia. The weirdest part, though, is that testing the strange strings reveals that they lack cellular structure and cannot be identified at all. Its weird characteristics have led to many conspiracy theories, with many believing that it does not originate from Earth. Some speculate that it could have resulted from alien organisms carried aboard the Genesis space probe when it went down in the Utah desert in 2004. Oh crap, I was in the Utah desert in 2003 and that's about when I got this. Psoriasis. Oh no! Uh-oh! You might be wondering what rheumatoid arthritis is doing at number 2 on today's list. I mean, every old person gets it, right? And that's exactly why it got the spot at number 2. RA is an autoimmune condition that can lead to inflammation, joint pain, and overall body discomfort. Interestingly, it tends to play a bit of a double act, causing trouble on both sides. So if it's bothering a joint in one arm or leg, you can expect the symptoms in the corresponding joint on the other side too. These specific causes or triggers of RA remain a bit of a mystery, and unfortunately, there isn't a cure for it. Typically, RA makes its appearance after the age of 50, with a higher likelihood of affecting men. Wilson's disease is an unusual genetic condition where your body accumulates excess copper, particularly in the liver and brain. While a small amount of copper from food is essential for health, an untreated case of Wilson's disease can result in dangerously high copper levels, leading to life-threatening damage to vital organs. This condition is inherited and requires each parent's copy of the abnormal gene. What makes it so scary is that it's often misdiagnosed, as it usually just presents itself as fatigue, weakness, and discomfort. Without early diagnosis and treatment, Wilson's disease poses serious complications, as toxic levels of copper will accumulate, leading to organ damage. There is no cure. So, what's the worst disease you've ever had? Have you experienced any of these? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out our social medias, including my personal ones, links in the description. And if you liked this list, you will love the one where we covered weird facts about the human body, and I discussed how sex can help you grow a more luscious beard, and how your body grows miles and miles of blood vessels for every pound of fat you gain. It's true. Miles and miles. So, to go to that list, just click right here. Seriously, you won't regret it. Who regrets more list 25? I know I don't. And if you do, rude. Click it. Let's watch some stuff together. I'm gonna watch it.